Hi everyone, welcome back to Tales of Strength. Today, I want to tell you about a man who had big dreams but zero motivation. Every morning, he woke up wanting to change his life. But by noon, he was back on the couch. He waited for motivation to strike. But motivation never came. Until one day, he learned a secret. A secret that changed everything. If you're waiting for motivation to take action, this story will save your life. His name was Chris. He was 29 years old. He had goals, dreams, plans, but no action. Chris wanted to build a business. He had notebooks full of ideas, but he never started. He wanted to get in shape. He bought gym equipment, but it collected dust. He wanted to learn new skills. He bookmarked courses, but never watched them. Every night, Chris felt guilty. Every morning, he made promises. Today will be different. But by afternoon, Chris was scrolling on his phone, watching videos, doing nothing. He was stuck, trapped in a cycle of wanting but not doing. One day, Chris broke down. He sat on his floor and cried, "Why can't I just do it? What's wrong with me?" That night, Chris called his uncle, a man named Robert. Robert was 62 years old, successful, disciplined, respected. Chris said, "Uncle Robert, I need help. I want to change my life, but I have no motivation. How do I force myself to work?" Robert was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Chris, let me tell you something that will change your life. You're waiting for motivation. That's your problem." Chris was confused. "What do you mean?" Robert said, "Motivation is a lie. It's a feeling, and feelings come and go. Successful people don't wait for motivation. They move without it." Chris asked, "But how? How do you work when you don't feel like it?" Robert replied, "You force yourself. Not once. Every single day. Let me tell you a story. When I was your age, I was just like you. Lazy, unmotivated, full of excuses. I had dreams, but I never took action because I was waiting to feel motivated. Then one day, my father said something that changed my life forever." Chris listened carefully. Robert continued, he said, "Robert, motivation is for amateurs. Professionals have discipline. You think successful people wake up motivated every day? No, they wake up and do the work anyway. You don't need to feel like it. You just need to do it." That day, I stopped waiting. I forced myself to take action, even when I didn't feel like it. And that decision changed my entire life. Chris felt something stir inside him. Robert said, "Here's the secret, Chris. You don't force yourself once. You force yourself every day until it becomes automatic. The first week is hell. Your mind will scream at you. Your body will resist. But you push through. The second week is hard, but slightly easier. By the third week, it starts becoming a habit. And after 30 days, you don't need to force yourself anymore. You just do it." Chris asked, "But what if I fail? What if I can't keep going?" Robert said, "Then you force yourself again, and again, and again, until it sticks. Discipline is not something you're born with. It's something you build, one forced action at a time." Chris felt tears in his eyes. "So I just start?" Robert replied, "Yes. Tomorrow morning, force yourself to wake up early. Even if every cell in your body wants to stay in bed. Force yourself to work on your goal. Even if you don't feel inspired. Force yourself to take one small action. Just one. And do it again the next day. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting to feel motivated. Just move." The next morning, Chris's alarm rang at 6 a.m. His body screamed to stay in bed. But Chris remembered his uncle's words. "Force yourself." Chris got up. It hurt, but he did it. He sat at his desk, opened his laptop, started working on his business. His mind said, "This is pointless. You're not motivated." But Chris forced himself to keep going. 1 hour. Just 1 hour. By the end of that hour, Chris felt something he hadn't felt in years. Pride. Not because he finished anything, but because he started. The next day, Chris did it again. Forced himself. 1 hour. The third day it was still hard, but slightly easier. By the end of the first week, Chris had worked 7 hours on his dream, more than he had worked in the past 6 months. By the end of the month, Chris had built momentum. He wasn't waiting for motivation anymore. He was creating it through action. 3 months later, Chris called his uncle again. Chris said, "Uncle Robert, you saved my life. I've been working every single day, not because I feel like it, but because I force myself." Robert smiled. "That's discipline, Chris. That's the secret. Motivation is temporary. Discipline is permanent. Motivated people start. Disciplined people finish." Chris said, "I finally understand. I was waiting for a feeling that was never going to come." Robert replied, "Exactly. Feelings follow action, not the other way around. You don't feel motivated, then work. You work, then feel motivated. Every time you force yourself to take action, you're building discipline, and discipline builds success." Chris felt grateful. For the first time in his life, he wasn't controlled by his feelings. He was in control. 1 year later, Chris launched his business. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. He didn't wait for motivation. He forced himself every single day, and it worked. Chris learned the greatest lesson of his life. You don't need motivation. You need discipline. So if you're waiting for motivation right now, stop. Just stop. Motivation is not coming, and you don't need it. What you need is to force yourself. Right now, today. Stop waiting to feel inspired. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Just take one action, one small step. Force yourself. Wake up early tomorrow. Even if you don't want to, work on your goal. Even if you don't feel like it, take action. Even if you're not motivated, do it once, then do it again, then again, and again. And after 30 days, you won't need to force yourself anymore. It will become automatic. Motivation is for people who want to start. Discipline is for people who want to finish. So stop waiting. Start forcing yourself. And watch your life transform. You don't need motivation. You need action. Force yourself today. And never stop. Thank you for watching Tales of Strength. If the story gave you the push you needed, share it. See you in the next one.